I'm Damian Barrett and welcome to the 2018 wash-up for the Geelong Football Club, brought to you by Karcher. Callum Twomey and Matty Lloyd are here with me. And Lloydie, are there some big decisions to be made at the Cats, or can the majority of this group go again for another tilt at the flag?
I think big decisions need to be made, Damo. They've gone in a certain direction. Dangerfield, Ablett, Tui, obviously Henderson. Now Dalhouse will come in. I think they've got to go back to the draft.
They haven't been to the draft for a while, have they?
No.
Dalhouse is an interesting one. Do they need him? Is he what they really need to take him to the next step?
Ultimately, the season fell way short of what they wanted to do, and they've recruited, as you've both said already, for a number of seasons. It hasn't worked. No. Is it a worrying point by that?
I think it is. I thought they were way off this year. They finished 8th for a reason, and they beat up on the lesser teams. They're dominant at home, very poor away. So I think they are that far off that they seriously need to make some hard calls and the strategy moving forward.
OK, Cal, there were plenty of highlights, though.
There was, and again, we talk about the recruiting, guys, and Stephen Wells has been a genius. He's picked up one of the great first-year players here in Tim Kelly, comes out of the Waffle and has been outstanding this season. But not just him, because Asava Radaglia was picked 43 in the draft, and he showed some great signs up forward before injury hit. And Jack Henry as well, a rookie out of the Geelong Falcons, and showed some really great promise and looks like being a key defender for them for a long time. So I like their recruiting when they do go to the draft, and it's been really beneficial when they've actually gone there and picked them. But as you said, Lloydie, maybe more of these guys to come.
2 of their 22 games saw Cats players have shots at goal after the siren. I'm going to go back to round 18 with Zach Tui having this situation here where Menzel managed to have this magnificent kick across to Hawkins, who got it to Duncan, who brought it into Zach Tui, and then he just took the composure to drill what was a very good goal.
It was a great goal. He got a bit of pressure from teammates. I think Scott Selwood gave him a bit of a chirp before and said, "You better kick this as our season's in a bit of trouble." But look, he slotted it beautifully. Probably the one guy you'd want with the ball in his hands is a great kick.
And Duncan bringing that ball into Tui also did it with Harry Taylor prior to that, with Taylor missing that particular goal. A few lowlights though.
Yeah, my lowlight, Damo, is even on Friday night, that final, Melbourne laid 23 tackles in the forward 50. Geelong laid 6. So they're small forwards. I'd name them Cockatoo, injured all the time, McCarthy, Gregson. Menzel just doesn't lay enough pressure. So they're small forwards at Geelong were a low line.
Is that where Dalhouse can help if they get him?
Yeah, I think so. That's a great role for him there next year.
Daniel Menzel's future is unknown. There will be an offer there for him, as there has been for some time. But a low light for him was the bungle with the injection, which cost him basically half a season of footy. And for someone who's had so much trauma when it comes to injury prior to that, it's something he and the club could well have done without. But yeah, future-wise for him, unlikely to be there.
St Kilda's been linked to him, hasn't it? Because as we saw at the first sort of 6 weeks of the season, he was playing some good footy, wasn't he? And then that struck, so it was really unlucky for him.
But they'd let Loney go and bring Menzel in. Doesn't make sense to me.
It's hard to mark them, but let's have a crack on what they did in 2018.
Yeah, a 5 for mine, Damo, and they're lucky to get that the way they finished.
Go with 5 for me too. They recruited to win the flag and didn't get anywhere near it.
Yeah, I did the same. I contemplated a 4, but I still figured they did make the finals, and that's better than some did. So, okay, now a few players individually would have cleaned up though in 2018, and there are some bright lights here.
Yeah, and a big one was Tom Stewart, obviously an All-Australian defender. One of the great stories in recent years, really, was playing for South Barwon in the Geelong Footy League 3 years ago. Played some VFL for the Cats and got selected out of there, and has been outstanding across half-back and the full-back line there for the Cats. Just mopped up everything, Lloydie, and has done it against some of the key players of the competition. So, look, he beat out some good players in the All-Australian team. Dylan Grimes, Tom Jonas, Harris Andrews, and really deserved that spot.
Yeah, I saw last year too. I think he was 5th or 6th in their best and fairest. So he's had a couple of great years. Hopefully he's top 3 this year, and one of the highlights of the season. I've gone in the defence area as well, Cal, for my clean-up. That was Mark Blixarves, and I thought that outside of Ranson McGovern, I thought maybe he was next best. I love Dylan Grimes this year, but obviously for those big, tall, key defenders, his endurance is exceptional, his closing speed, his foot skills have improved. And I think even in the final again, putting him into the ruck hurt Geelong.
Yeah, he seemed to have found his spot there.
Yeah, exactly. They just got to settle him down, but because Abbott was the number 1 ruckman, they had to move him into the ruck as well.
So many people and so many facets of this footy club now under a lot of pressure going into 2019. I just want to start with some of the big guys. Wiley Buzzer and Zach Smith, they've clearly put a line through Zach Smith. It happened early in the season and just didn't want to really let him have a role of any sorts. Wiley Buzzer just hasn't come on the way he would have hoped at some stage. Even Reece Stanley, Lord, I know you'll touch on him in more detail in a moment, but while he's about to sign a new contract, or it's been done effectively, there's still some people at that club who are not totally sold on him. So I think the big man department is a concern.
It looks like Scott Lycett's going to go to Port Adelaide. Melbourne's shown interest in Braden Priest. It's interesting why the Cats haven't thrown the world at them. A couple of guys who look like being elsewhere potentially. George Holland-Smith could go to the Suns. they've shown some interest in him as a guy who's played a lot of VFL footy without being able to break into that team consistently. Jackson Thurlow and Jordan Murdoch also out of contract.
Do you think they'll find a club, those two?
No, I don't think so.
Lloydie, the laugh.
Well, Damo, they say cats have hard heads, and I'd agree with that. Take a look at this. Patrick Dangerfield. What about this for a head clash with Hamish Hartlett? And watch Hartlett's down in Ulster. Look at Deja. He's like he's on a catwalk, Dangerfield. Again, bang. And he just has the strut. And that wasn't the only hard head for Geelong this year. And I didn't like this one for Henderson either. Yeah, watch Colin Jasny coming one way against the Suns. He hits him right where it hurts there, Hendo. So, as again, we can laugh, but I don't think Lockie Henderson was laughing
He
at that
only just got back in. That's so welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, a lot of things that need to now go right for this club going out of 2018, and what they do need as a starting point is to get some game time and some injury-free seasons into Asava Radaglia, who looks really good, but we still don't know. He's unproven. And also Nakia Cockatoo, who we continually talk about at the end of the season, thinking he could be one who could improve, but just cannot get his body right. So those two are crucial in my eyes.
Where do we think Cockatoo plays his best footy?
Oh, I think in the forward half again. Yeah. I'm not sure his endurance is ready for much more than that.
I don't mind him off half back, but again, we just need to see him play for a full year. I think they just need to win a final for a start. I mean, they've lost 9 of their last 12 finals since the 2011 flag. They're abysmal again on the weekend. There's been some shockers in there. Well, I don't know, their game plan just seems to break down in September. Yeah,
it does. And for mine, Damien, you just touched on it. Can you trust Zach Smith? No. Can you trust Stanley? No. Radagalia's not ready yet. So surely they go all in for a ruckman around the competition. We've seen it with Nankervis. You know, how good it was for them at Richmond. Surely there's one across the competition they can go for.
There's not a lot in the draft either, so maybe they're sort of prying another club because there's a couple of guys they could look at, but there's not many in the draft either.
Right now, they're hard to read. I find them really hard to read on what we think they're going to do next year. What do you think they're going to do, Lloydie?
Too much top-end talent to miss the 8, so I still think 5 to 8 for mine.
Yeah, bottom half of the 8 for me, but not a premiership.
I've got them missing. I noticed they got in, obviously, with 2 big wins in rounds 22 and 23, but didn't like what I saw in the final. I think they're off, and I think they might miss. But Lloydie and Cal, thank you, and thanks for watching the wash-up for the Cats in 2018.